As I'm talking to you, I see in the corner of my eye the tennis wall of fame. Okay. Now, I thought I was passionate about tennis. That was my first sport. Started playing it from when I was about 7. Every summer, every day on the court. I'll admit, like I'm telling this open in the air. I don't have very much athletic ability. I was very bad. I'm very bad at anything I do first time. I only get there by lots of practice. I don't have the God given gift. I know how to talk, I know how to write, but hand me any kind of bat, stick, whatever, throw, it's not going to come naturally to me. I need to work really hard at it. And that's what I did. But I love the sport. To me, it's a sport of kings and queens. It's a beautiful game. The game within the game, I loved watching it back in the day, watching all the greats, Agassi, Becker, Lendl, etc. And then I find out that Sam went to college on a tennis scholarship in Louisiana, Nicholls State, and your brother Hayden was a professional with Team Canada, and now he's a senior VP
Exactly.
at Tennis Canada. So tennis is running in your blood. Uh, how young were you when you picked up a tennis racket for the first time?
Yeah, it's interesting because we always play sports, and today's a little different because a lot of the kids there are just on their videos, etc. Back then, we were playing, ice hockey, road hockey, baseball, football, da da da. And my brother and I, just by chance, one day grabbed a couple tennis rackets, and we just fell in love with the sport. And my brother's a couple years younger, so I think I was like 13, he was 11. I picked it up probably a little later than I should have to really go on to be, a tennis pro, etc. But I probably logged more hours than myself. My brother would play every day. I think for years, decades. We were all in. So I think actually athletics is really interesting. Because it really, if you can learn to compete and win, it actually shapes you for the future as well. And I think that really helped us a lot too. But yeah, I became a big student, and I just couldn't get enough of tennis. I'd watch every tournament. I've had the good fortune of going to all the Grand Slams now, and this in 2 weeks now in the National Banks here. Obviously I've got seats there. They're really nice, and I'll probably take the week off and watch. And yeah, I still love the game very much, and I still play every day when I'm in Florida too. So, and I've had the good fortune through my brother and through Carl Hale to meet a lot of really, iconic figures. All the top players, and it's been a real blessing. And we were talking about earlier before coming on the air. Bianca was at the house yesterday because we were doing a few things, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm blessed to have all those people and had that journey as well.
Bianca Andreescu, in case you were wondering who Bianca is, I'm meeting with a person, a promoter, and we're talking about wrestling. He's like, "Oh, Samoa Joe was at my house last night." I'm like, "Yeah, none of these people come to my house, but very nice to know that they're going to somebody's house." So Bianca or Samoa Joe ever get bored, they want to come over, I'll let you know my address. They can come hang out. I'll make them an espresso, whatever they like.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna ask you some controversial tennis questions. Two of
Sure,
them.
sure.
Number one, in my estimation, if I was gonna fix the game of tennis the way I liked it, I think I love the athletic ability. I love where tennis has gone. They're more athletic now than they ever were. You got performance centers. It's year-round training. It's a lot different than it was back in our day. But if there's one thing I would go back to, I'd go back to wooden rackets. I feel like the equipment has gotten too good because if I went to go face any right now top 100, top 150 player, I'm not touching their serve. There's no chance. I have to start swinging the second that they throw the ball in the air. How do you feel about equipment? How do you feel about the state of tennis right now? You think they're a good place? Would you make any tweaks to the game if you were a commissioner of it right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's one of the things you can't really do today is compare eras, right? Because we talk about Laver and Borg, and they're playing with a wooden racket, and the sweet spot was this versus this. I mean, it's a completely different game. I think it's going to be really hard to go back now, though, because I think people are used to 130, 40-mile-an-hour serves, etc. But that's why I probably like watching more the clay court season because you get more rallies and the surface is a little slower. But I'll tell you, I was talking to Carl Hale today, the tournament director of National Bank, and we're very good friends. And he said, even though Novak pulled out today, because we kind of knew he was considering that,
Yeah.
the ticket sales have never been better. So tennis is a great, great place because you think about it, the top three are probably, well, two are pretty much, Roger has officially retired. Rafa is probably a year from retiring, who I love immensely, and he's had a great career. And Novak's probably got a year or two. He still worked really hard in his body with all the yoga and everything else. So he's, now the Grand Slam champ. But with those three still kind of now leaving, I mean, you've got some great people emerging. Carlos Alcaraz, and you got Holger Rune. And so tennis is always going to be, every time we thought, hey, what's going to happen? Who's going to replace these guys? Borg, Connor, McEnroe, who's going to replace them? Well, along comes Agassi and Sampras. And now you got the big three that dominated for 20 years. This is the first time in 20 years that one of the big three won't be at the National Bank Open, right? Which is crazy, 2 decades.
Now, what kind of player were you out on the court? Were you the yelling kind on every little shot? Were you the calm kind? Were you more McEnroe? Were you more Federer? What was your style on the court? Like, I know my style for sure. You did not want to see me before yoga, by the way. I didn't take up yoga till in my 20s, but I was a McEnroe. Like, I broke so many rackets getting out of frustration, but I was not frustrated with the other players. I wasn't frustrated with whoever was officiating for us. I was with myself. That's it. And when I saved up enough money to buy myself my dream racket, I was always a Prince guy. And they came. Remember those the first oversized, like the really
Of course
oversized
I
head
did. Of
ones.
course I played with him.
Still got my
Yeah,
my
it's
that,
actually a great racket.
love that racket.
Yeah, yeah.
This is like circa now. We're talking like late 80s, maybe early 90s at best. I never smashed that racket. I never smashed another racket since. I had respect for the racket. I know how much I had to work to pay. You're working at $5 an hour at a supermarket and you save up enough money to buy your dream racket. You can't smash it. So I already started my process to yoga through that racket. It's funny enough. What was your choice of rackets? And
Oh,
what? Yeah.
ironically, I think I'm playing with the Wilson now, but back in the day when I was competing and I was on a tennis ride, I had the same racket.
The Prince.
I loved it. Yeah, it was my racket, my go-to for sure. And I don't think I'd get mad sometimes for sure on the court, but I was more of a grunter. So every time I hit a ball, I would grunt, right? So sometimes people are like, why are you grunting so loud? So I was a bit of that. But, and interestingly, because if you look at guys like Federer, who really at the end was very, I don't think he tossed the racket too many times. In his younger days, his parents said, if you're going to throw the racket, you're not playing tennis anymore. So he basically shaped up because he had a bit of a temper in his teenage days, right? And Rafa's the only guy I would say in 2 decades I've been watching him play, he's never thrown his racket once. Never once. Which I have huge respect for that because
Yeah.
I think he's got great family values, etc. And I mean, having met him a few times, he's probably one of the nicest guys too. And interestingly, with Rafa, you talk to me on the tour, you say, who's the nicest guy? You don't talk about made for TV. You ask people who are the stringers, the transportation guys. They all say Rafa, Rafa, Rafa. So he was and I think Alcaraz really seems like he's the same mold as well.
Does it not blow your mind a little bit when Nadal's wearing his like $100,000, $150,000 Millet watches? Does it get you a little nervous?
Oh, yeah, only except when he sponsors, it's okay. So otherwise, yeah, I mean they're pretty. I mean his is probably because one of my dreams was to get one. I did buy one a few years ago, but he has one that's probably worth $800,000 or $1 million, right? So, but because he's sponsored, I think. But they're so light too, right? So,
Yeah, so it doesn't
but
make
I wouldn't
sense.
wear a watch to play tennis. To be honest with you, right?
I wouldn't either. I'd bang it. I'd bang it in a second.
Yeah, I'd be very nervous.
Now, finishing off on tennis, so I have a really good friend of mine, another lawyer. He's in family law. I'm in real estate law, so we go for lunches and we talk about our various trades and we have our laughs. We're both also big lovers of tennis, and he, belongs to his tennis club. He's got his tennis partners. He doesn't like me right now, and I'll tell you why he doesn't like me. Because I have moved over to the pickleball side of things, and I do both. And he's like, if you are a true tennis fan, don't talk to me about I was at his place in Farley Harbor just yesterday afternoon. He told me, do not talk to me about pickleball. Don't play pickleball. I am never going. I don't want to. It does not exist in this household. That word is forbidden. And I said to him, but you've never played it. You can love tennis and you can love pickleball at the same time. We can work together here. What's your take on pickleball?
It's really growing in popularity. I really haven't played it. I've watched it a little bit on TV. It looks like an interesting game, and I'm sure at some point I'll play. And I don't know if it's a conflict for tennis diehards, but I'm sure I'll probably try it at some point.
Well, you were mentioning that you're playing table tennis with Bianca, right?
Yes.
So you're a big tennis table guy?
I love playing table tennis. Yeah, it's fun.
So if table tennis and tennis had a baby, it would be called pickleball. I had this idea at around 10 years old, believe it or not. I thought, what if we were going to play ping pong style on a tennis court? I should have gone and done that. I'd probably be in Tahiti right now. But I'm going to tell you, if you haven't done it, you got to get out there. I'm telling you, you're going to have the time of your life. You will enjoy it.
How long did it take for you to transition from tennis to understanding the nuances?
Very simple. You go get the equipment first and foremost. So it's sitting there. It's not difficult to get. Watch a couple YouTube videos. I spent an hour watching pickleball tournaments. First, you watch a video on the rules. That takes about 15, 20 minutes. Talking about being in the kitchen, not in the kitchen. So about being in certain boxes, not in certain boxes through. They have various styles. Learning how the serving is because it's a lot different. Everything's underhand. It's a lot of fun. And then actually watch pickleball matches and see what they did. I spent maybe 2 hours doing that. And my videographer, Cole, and we actually played pickleball together for the first time, and we had a blast. So, a lot of fun.
What do you prefer, tennis or pickleball today?
if I had to pick one still, it's still tennis.
Yes, okay.
It is tennis just because I love the serving aspect. I love the long game. I just love power. That's me. And I can't get that out in pickleball. You have to be very much more calculated. If you do not have a net game, pickleball is going to be not fun. It
Okay.
takes a while. So I'm more of a power game, and it made me develop more of my net game. So I'm actually thankful to pickleball for that.
Nice.
Yeah, so definitely get out there.
And which is a better workout?
It's different. I mean, tennis is still a workout. This is it's different. I actually twisted my ankle. I was too aggressive on pickleball. I actually pulled my ankle. I kept going though because there's no forfeiting here. So I did do that. Once I was playing tennis with a realtor, a buddy of mine, and I was 1 point away from finishing the match. He said, "You know what? My ankle's bothering me a little bit. We're gonna have to
Oh,
cancel."
1 point.
I go, come on.
That's called turtling.
Yeah, we never played again since.
Yeah, 1 point, just lose that point and shake hands, right? So
Was there a point when you were in college originally back in Nicholls State? Did you think tennis was going to be a future, or was this more of a passion hobby getting you through school? How did you see it?
no, I didn't think I was going to play professionally. I was fortunate enough to be able to pay for my education for my undergrad, and I played number 2 in my school and number 1 in doubles. And our team was pretty heavy, even though back then it was Division II school. The reason I went there is it was a really heavily loaded tennis program. So they won the national championship and stuff. So all the players were coming from abroad. So we had people from Spain, Sweden, Australia, England. So it was a lot of fun. But no, I didn't think I was going to play professionally. Let's just get enjoy this experience, get my education, and hopefully learn from this as well.
And Louisiana is a hotbed for sports. They love their sports out there. One of my favorite baseball players, Will Clark, was playing for Louisiana State
right.
around the time that you would have been in college over there.
Because he played for San Fran, I think.
He
right?
played for San. He got
He's a
drafted.
great player.
He got drafted by San Fran.
Lefty.
Correct. One of the sweetest swings in
Yeah,
baseball.
great swing.
Steve Carsey, we were talking about, the former baseball player. We do another podcast on baseball, and he almost went to school. He was talking about Louisiana. It's a lot of fun out there.
Yeah.
Different vibe than Ontario, Canada, I would say.
Oh, it's interesting. I was going down there, and I was 19 at the time, and everybody was saying hi. It was such a friendly environment, and when I'd come back in the summers, I'd be walking down the streets of Toronto, saying hi to people, and they're like, "What does he want from me?" I'm like, "Just better to be friendly than not, right?" So, I mean, the mindset in the South was really nice, especially in the university kind of arena. It was a lot of fun, and for me, it was great growth opportunities in terms of mental mindset. So, I was doing a lot of reading back then about positivity and books that would really help me shape for the future. And I think that was, critical years for me. And I think if I was spending my time here in Canada, it'd have been a different journey for me.
Now, segueing back to Nikki for a second, Nikki originally put us together because she said, you and Sam both have a little bit of things in common. One of them is your passion for health. Now, I'm looking at you, Sam, so I was unhappy about the outfit thing, but now I'm happy because I'm realizing that we bounced off of each other for our respective team logo colors.
Right.
But I'm sitting here, I'm 46 years old, turning 47 this year. I met you on the street, I would say, if I was to guess, 32 max. I don't know if you found the secret fountain of youth. If you have located, let me know. I need some of that water. But did you buy a LeBron James rejuvenation chamber? And
I do have that, actually, ironically, which we'll talk about. I
had a feeling. And you're no stranger to ice baths too, I would guess.
No, not at all. Every day. Yeah, I'll talk about my routine in a few minutes for sure.